When most people think about the history of economic thought, the first names that come to mind are Adam Smith, Karl Marx, or if they've listened a little more carefully, Aristotle. But hidden within the Middle Ages is an overlooked truth, and Western historical narratives almost never teach it. Nearly 1,000 years ago, long before capitalism or central banks even existed, a Muslim thinker issued a warning that still echoes in every financial crisis today. He said this: "When money loses its moral guidance, societies begin to rot from within." If we look at the world we live in today, he may have understood us better than we understand ourselves. Welcome to History of Finance, where money, power, and history collide, and which nothing is as simple as it seems. To understand al-Ghazali, one of the most influential thinkers of the Islamic Golden Age, you need to imagine a world that feels both familiar and foreign. The year is around 1100. Europe is fragmented, poor, and still struggling to emerge from the wreckage of the early Middle Ages. In contrast, the Islamic world stretches from Al-Andalus to Persia. Cities are wealthy, crowded, and sophisticated. Baghdad, Damascus, Cairo. These are the financial and intellectual superpowers of their time. Trade routes overflow with caravans carrying silk, spices, textiles, and silver. Scholars debate philosophy, law, astronomy, and medicine. Markets are vibrant, empires are rich, and wealth is transforming society at a pace few fully understand. It is in this world that Hamid al-Ghazali emerges. Part philosopher, part jurist, part theologian, and a relentless critic. You can think of him as a man who could explain the purpose of the soul and the purpose of money with equal clarity, without blinking. Born in 1058 in Persian lands, Ghazali rose rapidly through the intellectual ranks. By his mid-30s, he held one of the most prestigious teaching positions in the Islamic world. But what made him extraordinary wasn't his status. It was his refusal to accept the status quo. He saw a world where wealth was increasing, markets were expanding, yet something felt deeply wrong. A society obsessed with money but stripped of meaning, an economy growing outwardly while decaying from within. The modern parallel is hard to miss. Ghazali asked a question no one else dared to ask. What happens when a civilization becomes rich without becoming wise? To find the answer, he focused on money itself. This is what surprises many Western observers. Ghazali was not just a religious thinker. He was one of the earliest philosophers to analyze money morally and systemically. Where Aristotle saw money as a practical invention, and modern economists analyze it mathematically, Ghazali examined its effects on human psychology and society. He studied how money shapes behavior, incentives, trust, and ultimately the fate of states. To Ghazali, money was not something to be worshipped, hoarded, or turned into a status symbol. It was simply a tool, a medium of exchange. He compared money to a mirror. A mirror has no value in itself. Its worth comes only from what it reflects. Money is the same. Its power does not come from gold or silver, but from enabling people to trade, produce, and cooperate. Ideas modern economists present as new were written by Ghazali in the 11th century, at a time when, in Europe, wealth still meant land or plunder. From this comes one of his most important insights. Hoarded money is dead money. Wealth locked in chests, hidden in rooms, or buried in the ground, was not just useless to him, it was socially harmful. Money that doesn't circulate doesn't feed workers, fund trade, or sustain families. It freezes the bloodstream of the economy. He described this as freezing the veins of society. Sound familiar? But Ghazali wasn't just criticizing greed. He saw the problem as systemic. When the wealthy hoard money, they create scarcity, not because resources vanish, but because circulation stops, prices distort, markets collapse, people suffer. His next warning was even harsher. Speculation destroys trust. Ghazali had no tolerance for merchants who manipulated prices, created artificial shortages, or profited from crises. He didn't call this smart trading. He called it moral decay, profit without contribution. Those who profit from the suffering of others, he wrote, profit from corruption. And corruption spreads like a disease. If today's financial bubbles, predatory lending, and crisis profiteering sound familiar, yes, they were written about 900 years ago. Ghazali was not anti-trade. He was not anti-profit. He believed in work, markets, and wealth, but he was fiercely opposed to dishonest trade, fraud, deception, false weights, hiding defects, manipulating information. Because markets, in his view, stand on trust, and when trust collapses, the economy follows. What we now call information asymmetry and moral hazard, he explained clearly, but without jargon. Another key idea concerned the value of labor. He argued that work is honorable, while wealth gained without effort is dangerous. Strong societies grow through contribution. Weak societies collapse through exploitation. His critique of the state feels shockingly modern. Medieval rulers, like many today, debased currency, altering gold and silver content to collect hidden taxes. Ghazali called this what it was, theft. When money is corrupted, trust collapses. The poor are punished. The system breaks from the top down. The state, he argued, should protect markets, not manipulate them. And he warned, unjust rulers destroy societies faster than external enemies. His conclusion was clear. A society can survive poverty, but it cannot survive corruption. Economies don't collapse because money runs out. They collapse because trust runs out. Money is a belief system. When people stop believing, the system stops working. From Weimar Germany to Zimbabwe, from Venezuela to Argentina, the pattern repeats. Ghazali understood human nature deeply. People hoard out of fear. They speculate out of greed. They cheat when they think they won't be caught. And when everyone does it, they justify it. But the moment exploitation becomes normal, collapse has already begun. That's why he said, if you want to fix an economy, you must fix the incentives that shape human behavior. To Ghazali, money was not mechanical. It was a moral ecosystem. And when morality collapses, finance collapses with it. That's why his message still matters today. In an age of exploding debt, rewarded speculation, and evaporating trust in institutions, his central warning remains. When money is separated from morality, the system will eventually break. If you don't know history, it may not repeat itself exactly, but it will come back and crush you. And if this gave you a new perspective, don't forget to subscribe.